Hey, ¿qué pasa, gente? ¿Cómo estáis? Bienvenidos al canal. Aquí seguimos en Vampyr, en el refugio, en el segundo refugio que habíamos encontrado, aquí al lado de la cama, que voy a descansar para ir aumentando las habilidades. Está echando un ojo por aquí y que nos han salido cosas nuevas de ataque, como de tácticas defensivas y tal. Pero es que valen 500, 600 y no tenemos tanto ahora mismo. Entonces he pensado que como vamos más cuerpo a cuerpo, aunque la lanza me molaría bien llevarla por si sale algo de largo alcance, me voy a pillar el desgarrón, que son 1000. Esto lo vamos a pillar. Y que por cierto también nos dejan ya reiniciarlos, los puntos. Entonces eso es importante, si nos dejan reiniciarlos. Luego había pensado en subir la vida o la... Voy a subir la energía, que me quedo sin energía cada 2×3. Y nos quedan para subir dos cosas más. Esto subiría más la energía a otros 300. Y voy a subir... Aumenta la regeneración de vida al usar la mordedura. La capacidad de sangre lo veo estúpido porque no llegamos a estar al máximo. Voy a subir esto. La absorción de sangre. Así me dan más... Puedo hacer más veces las magias y demás. ¿No me deja o qué? ¿Por qué? Es la que tengo ya. Ah, vale, que es la que tengo. Podemos subir esta, que sería 600. Uf, ya 600 me lo pienso. Prefiero pillar dos cosas. Esto es para crear suelos y cartuchos. Mirad, voy a aumentar el de las balas por si sale gente para que nos venga mejor utilizar la pistola, por así decirlo. Aunque luego le peguemos, pero le podemos dejar tupi. Es que lo de las balas ahora... Nah, lo de las balas no me interesa. Voy a subir la regeneración de vida al usar esto. A no ser que, espérate, ¿me deja subir esto ya? Si me deja subir esto, vale, pues entonces me subo la curación, gente. Uf, son 1300. Vale, pues no me subo ya nada más, gente. Me he pillado el ataque, me vale. Voy a ahorrar para la autofatiga de momento. Y vamos a ver qué pasa a la noche siguiente. No ha pasado nada, ¿no? Este es el que nos habíamos cargado nosotros. Otra cosa que he visto, que este está en el hospital, el Milton, y es el que tenemos que ir a entregarle la cartera. Así que voy a ver si le encuentro. Me parece brutal la música del juego, ¿eh? Me parece brutal. Esto no sé si lo he dado, así que le doy también, por si acaso. Vale, esto es para... Vale, la planta que no la regamos nunca. Vale, pues vámonos. Voy a buscar al tío este que os digo. Era Milton algo. Joder. Arriba solo está el doctor este. Sin no sé qué. No le veo, ¿eh? Desconocido. Tengo que ir hablando con todos, gente. Venga, voy a ir hablando un poco con todos porque hay que ir haciéndolo. Voy a hacerlo un poquito rápido.
Good evening, sir. Can I help?
Unless you're here to fix my face.
I'm Dr. Reid. I've recently taken...
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my...
Joder.
Have you heard rumor?
If you want to know what's going on here,
Con
you
la
better
señora
talk to
Jones.
Miss Jones. She knows everything.
How is your stay with us?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills.
Who is treating you? Is someone...
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me.
You don't seem what...
My face hurt so much more when I smiled.
No, esto ya es...
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you...
I really don't want to talk.
No offense. I was pushing to...
You were an officer, weren't you?
Vale. Pues este es lo que tiene.
Mr. Elwood.
Fear of disgust on every street corner.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reid, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reid, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Have you heard of any black...
I have no time for mortal games. My secrets are beyond their comprehension, Dr. Reid.
And why do you believe...
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please.
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here.
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit.
Who are these enemies?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit them.
The star...
I'm not speaking.
I see.
Thank you.
Vale, venga. Nueva investigación. Nos han abierto una nueva investigación de...
Who are you really,
secundaria.
I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before...
No, it was such a long time ago, I don't remember.
Vale, pues le hemos preguntado todo, ¿no?
I'll leave you.
Time has lost its effect on me. But the
Vale,
suffering
pues nada.
continues.
Esta ya hemos hablado con ella. Quiero ir hablando con la gente y bueno, pues sé que esto es un poquito más pesado, el rollo de diálogo y tal, pero también es lo que mola un poco, porque según parece la historia es muy buena la del juego, por lo poco que me he ido un poco informando. Es que tampoco quiero buscar mucha información del juego porque te puedes spoilear, ¿sabes? Y no me interesa. Y estoy buscando al Milton este, que tal, pero le he perdido. ¿Es este? ¿Es este, no? No.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reid. I'm
Ah, pues
Milton
sí,
Hooks,
mírale.
the ambulance driver for...
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reid. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reid. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
Anda, mírale qué bueno. El tío que nos vende,
I have
nos
some
da
good
armas.
news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money, and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut.
Anda,
Not everybody's as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reid.
Este está liado con la doctora esa que tal.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reid. A reliable gun is what...
A ver, ¿esto qué tiene? Vale, esto es lo que vendemos. Tornillo, grasa, esquirla, aluminio en polvo, una pieza de no sé qué, pieza de tal, cartuchos de escopeta, balas y escopeta de Milton. 315. Wow, si tengo 151, gente, no tenemos aquí para nada.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening.
Vamos a quitarle la... Uf.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reid. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Eso tiene razón lo que ha dicho. Vale, ese ya le hemos hablado. Hostia.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
So what do you do exactly in the...
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I'll bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient
que vamos
outside the hospital. That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, doctor.
Hemos encontrado la cartera antes de que nos diera la misión.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked.
But you're not defending yourself.
You keep people alive, you're up.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reid.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Vale, pues nos han dado bastante información por aquí. De aquí no tenemos ya nada.
Goodbye, Milton.
Ya más o menos yo creo que hemos hablado con muchos de la zona que hacían falta, gente. Eso va a ser importante porque ya vamos conociendo un poco las relaciones.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk.
Coño, mira quién es la vampira.
And we'll be up again soon enough.
Esta sí es vampira, no como la otra.
Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet lady of mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reid. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
Una pregunta al
So
esto.
it seems our Dr. Swansea does indeed have a fascination for creatures of our constitution.
Dr. Swansea is a remarkable man,
Dedicated, one might say obstinate. He spent years compiling our bestiary.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Voy a darle a esto.
Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must
Hay alguien que sabe que es vampiro, aparte de ellos.
Please continue. Every detail is essential.
No sé si tengo que darle antes a las otras o a ese.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Ah, vale.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
You are aware that I too know the thirst for the scarlet nectar.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital. My visits serve a dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion. It seems you are a specialist in the domain.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reid. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
Vale. O sea, sé que esta tía... Coño, nivel 7, no me había dado cuenta hasta ahora, gente. Esta tía, por así decirlo, lo que yo he entendido, no, vamos a ver. Aparte de ayudar, como está intentando hacer Jonathan, lo que hace también es, pues eso, a algunos lo chupa. Y pues alguien ha encontrado las pruebas de justo cuando han desaparecido esas personas, como que ella está involucrada, como que le han sacado la sangre y han descubierto que es vampira. Y bueno, pues eso es lo que yo he entendido de esa conversación. Y la Harry Jones esta, pues es la que más tendrá, más sabrá, porque la méteme en todo. Es esta, ¿no? Pipa Hawkins, ¿no? Esta no es, ¿no? No, es que como el otro ponía...
Good evening, Dr. Reid.
Have you heard of any underhand dealings within the hospital?
I don't have time for such nonsense, Doctor. I've work to do.
Blackmail is a serious matter, Nurse Hawkins.
Everything is serious around here, Dr. Reid. Starting with patients who need me.
Are you certain? You seem nervous.
If you have something in mind, just speak up, Doctor. Otherwise, stop breathing down my neck.
Vale.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Me está empezando a caer mal esa tía, ¿Y la Harriet John esta dónde está? A ver. Ese es desconocido. Ese es el que estaba por atrás. Este es desconocido, ¿no?
Doctor. I believe
Dr. Reid. Dr. Swan... I am Thoreau Strickland. Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reid.
Me parece que este capítulo, gente, va a ser más de hablar y tal, para ir enterándonos también un poco del asunto. Hábleme de usted.
Could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reid. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
La verdad que el tío es bastante importante, ¿eh?
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reid. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may...
Vale, otra misión secundaria, por así decirlo. Vale, esto ahora lo pregunto.
Have you heard any talk?
If you're running some official inquiry, you had better question the patients. They know more than the staff, especially old Miss Jones.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him? Or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reid. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father. Ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
This personal involvement could also
Nos vamos enterando, gente.
You must know that a good surgeon must remain.
Es que hay muchos personajes con los que hablar ahora mismo. Y no llevamos ni... no sé cuánto de largo puede ser esto, gente.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones and flesh.
No me he enterado muy bien de esta última, no le estaba prestando atención porque estaba pensando en lo que nos había dicho antes. Es decir, que el del brazo ha mentido sobre su cómo se ha hecho lo de la herida del brazo, por así decirlo. Voy a hablar con él. No, este era el de la cara, el de la madre.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reid. Any news about my operation?
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Vale. Pues este, por ejemplo, le tenemos entero.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
I'm all right.
Revisión médica, reúno nada. Vale, cautivar, información. Es que no quiero darle a... No le voy a pillar todavía. Si lo que quiero es esto. Este nos da 1000 de experiencia. Vale. O sea que de aquí... Mira, nos faltan 2 por descubrir. Con el resto hemos hablado ya con todos, creo. Vale, Beatriz, Montinger, esa la viva y tal. Estos 2 médicos, estos son los pacientes. Nos faltan estos 2 pacientes. Y la doctora... Esa, Pipi House, Milton Hall... Pero no encuentro... La doctora no está. Entonces la doctora tiene que ser una de las que faltan.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Por aquí vamos a algún lado más. No, por aquí ya salimos. Ahí había había alguien desconocido por ahí. Vale, pero por aquí voy a entrar otra vez. ¿Qué es esto? Vale. Chorradas. Vale, este... No he hablado con él. He hablado con ella, pero no he hablado con él. Pero no me deja hablar porque está ella en medio. Así que uno que no podemos hablar, pero ese no es. Por ahí no se puede. Por aquí entramos, sería el hospital, que este es el Milton este. ¿A ti te conozco? Sí. Vale, ahí me sale una marca ya. Que ni me he fijado en la marca.
What is this? Who are you? Get out of my room.
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reid, the new surgeon.
Joder, me cago en la puta.
Dr. Reid, you say?
Que la Harriet John es una enferma, una paciente. Yo pensaba que era...
Please, calm down, madam.
Una médica, una doctora.
I am highly qualified. I'm just back from war duty.
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here? You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical
Es que no sé si tengo... La próxima vez voy a darle primero a los blancos.
Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round.
¿Ya está? Coño, ¿ese no puedo abrirlo o qué? Ahora.
The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them.
A ver, a ver, a ver, a ver, a ver, a ver.
Still standing after this epidemic. There's good reason to be proud.
Vale, tú eres una con la que tengo que hablar.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reid.
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting one of the nurses during her shift?
Let me guess. You spoke with that old shrew, Harriet Jones. Do not pay attention to her, Doctor. She's full of fanciful tales.
No matter how you feel about her, Miss Jones deserves our help.
Who says I don't care for her? Hate is what keeps that old crone alive.
She could have been telling the truth about the mysterious man.
That old witch will end up in hell soon enough. Who cares if a nurse finds some happiness where she can?
Goodbye,
Vale.
Nurse Hawkins.
¿Pues ya hemos hablado con ella o qué? Sí. La otra está aquí. Parece, ¿no? No. La otra está afuera. No, la otra está aquí. ¿O no?
Liars and thieves, every last one of them.
Vale, vale, no te pongas así, tía. La otra está afuera, entonces. Esta es, mírala.
Good
Esta es
evening.
la... Ah, no,
I'm
con
Dr.
esta,
Jonathan
con
Reid,
esta no he hablado.
the new
Pues
surgeon
no me
here
suena
at
de nada.
Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about
Did
it.
he really?
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Do you know if any of the hospital...
The people who work here all come from very different backgrounds, Doctor. Just like the patients.
Why does Dr. Tippett's claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you
Dr.
as just a
Tippett's,
nurse,
el Tippex.
does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
El Tipex era el que vendía o las otras cosas. No me acuerdo el qué, pero vendía cosas.
How are things here? An invisible enemy. Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you...
Brilliant professionals. Most... It
Bueno,
would-
va.
Well,
Why...
Vamos a ver, voy a darle un poquito rápido. Vale, destaca el Tipex. Claro. Nos anda una pista con el
Nurse
Tipex.
Brannigan, if you do know something, please...
no. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Voy a darle
Is
este
there
momento a ver
anyone
qué era.
Well, I have never met someone as
¿Ves? El Dr.
dedicated as
Tipex.
Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when...
Vale. Su vida en Londres, ya está. Esto también, pues ya está.
Goodbye,
También tú.
nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Otra que hemos hablado con ella. Entonces, ahora mismo nos queda hablar con la Duración Crane esta, que está abajo. Abajo. Hostia, macho. Abajo. ¿Y cómo se baja? bajamos, tío? Pues yo no había visto... Yo no he visto escaleras de bajar por ningún lado. Yo voy pillando por aquí cosas mientras, gente.
It's locked, all right.
¿Esta quién es?
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reid.
Esta no es.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Se ha quedado ahí un poco pillado el juego. Debe hacer un corte, se ha puesto ya a cargar. Cago en 10. Pero por aquí ya salimos.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate.
Bueno, pues nada, mientras pillamos cosas. Mientras recorremos esto. Y me entero de por dónde hay que ir. Por aquí volvemos a salir. Estos son los pacientes de antes. Pero es que marca como que está abajo, tío. ¿Por dónde hay que ir, gente? No lo sé. Aquí hay unas escaleras. Vamos a ver si por aquí llegamos. Opio, me he pillado. No, pero por aquí. Aquí es donde matamos al primero, al que le chupamos la sangre.
It's locked, all right.
Ay, no sé qué me ha salido. Le estaba dando aquí a la X para pillar esto y no sé qué me ha salido. Lo he encontrado. ¿Y ahora qué hago?
You're sure
vale.
you don't come back with me?
Nah, I have to see someone at the hospital.
Be careful. You look so bad they may keep you as a patient.
Fuck 'em.
Ya me
Don't
acuerdo
like
cuál era.
hospitals or doctors.
Well then, when you go back to Whitechapel, you may find this useful.
What is it?
A pass for a free medical exam by the best nurse available. Just read it.
I don't read well, but thank you, I guess.
No me he enterado. Y esta ya se ha ido. O sea, llegamos nosotros ya... Joder. Vale, vale. Encuentra al mafioso en las alcantarillas. Vale, momento de carga. Corten. Bueno, pues estamos en las alcantarillas, gente. Supongo que nueva zona, nuevo boss, nuevo de todo habrá aquí. Vale, esta se abre. Y esta supongo que no. Vale, sí. Esta será para salir. Tendremos que dar toda la vuelta para... ¿Me vuelo un boss ya? No puede ser tan pronto ya.
This man has been savagely attacked and dragged to the floor.
Voy a abrir esta. Ya se queda abierta. Vale, vale. Me había parecido ver algo ahí en el agua. Empiezan los problemas, gente. Empiezan los problemas. Nivel 8, ¿eh? Bueno. Oh, me he caído. No hay... Sí, nos hemos caído. Oh, mierda, me he quedado ahí. Me he quedado encerrado. Este es otro. Ven, hombre. Vale. Ahí hay otro. Vale. Tranqui. Buah, eso es un boss fijo. Más que nada por lo amplio de la zona. Ya os lo digo, gente. Ya os lo digo. No es posible que el ciudadano en apuro no sobreviva hasta la próxima noche. Ve a ver cómo está. ¿Quién? Aquí un ciudadano. Madre mía, ¿dónde coño estoy? Esto es como para salir, yo creo, de la zona, ¿eh? Oh, me ha dado él. Le he pegado el desgarrón ese. No está mal, le ha quitado bastante, le ha quitado bastante. Le ha quitado bastante.
Are you injured, sir?
Help me get out of here. I need to get out.
I'm Dr. Reid, and I'd be glad to help you, but you must calm down first. Please, take a deep breath and tell me your name.
Okay. I'm Oswald Thatcher. Please, I need to get out.
All right, Mr. Thatcher, you're safe now. Do you think you can reach the street by yourself?
Yes, I do.
Good. Now leave this place and enjoy the cool night air. It's quite invigorating. I'm sure you'll feel better if you do.
Vale. Un momento.
Are you sure you're all right, sir?
Yes.
Vale. Es de algún distrito. Vale, pues ya le veremos luego en la esta. A ver qué nos han dado. Quitina, esencia de clavo. De clavo, que no sabemos qué es. Vale, pues le hemos salvado a este tío que estaba aquí sufriendo. Pues creo que lo vamos a ir dejando aquí, gente. Ha sido un poco más de investigación. Empezamos a tener aquí ya problemillas. Así que vamos a ir viendo cómo evoluciona esto. Me está gustando, me está gustando. Lo que pasa es que estamos llegando al momento. Hemos estado en un momento un poquito lento. Pues eso, nos hemos enterado un poquito de los trapos sucios de la gente y tal. Y nada, pues a ver, habrá que investigar también un poco. No todo va a ser pegar y pegar. Buen día. Así que nada, gente, como siempre, nos quedamos aquí con Jonathan, con este ciudadano ahí abajo, que volverá por su propio pie, ha dicho, la siguiente noche. Y a ver qué nos encontramos, porque yo creo que... Bueno, tenemos 1600 puntos ya. Hemos subido 1000 porque había dejado 600. Habría que empezar a pensar en esto de cómo funciona, pues, y pillar alguno y matar a alguno. No me mola ni nada, pero habrá que pillar alguno en algún momento, porque si no, a ver, ¿qué hacemos? Nos faltan aquí gente, pero vamos, hay que pillar aquí alguno y de aquí no hemos pillado a nadie. Fijaros que el primer distrito le hemos saltado y no hemos mirado nada. Vamos un poco siguiendo la historia principal, que es lo que yo creo que queréis ver, pero no hemos visto nada. Pero bueno, lo iremos comentando y lo iremos viendo. Mira, por aquí ya tenemos... estos dos nos mandan al mismo lado. Este ya lo hemos hecho. Averigua quién espía a Thelma. Y esto, el que hemos salvado, que ya está hecho. Guay, pues nada, iremos pillando más cosillas, supongo. Así que como siempre, gente, sin más dilación me despido. Nos vemos en el próximo capítulo de Vampyr y a ver qué nos encontramos. Un saludo, chao.